we really benefited, both Rebecca and Natalie, who are here, were a big part of our Irene recovery. And I think the fact that we had a community that had done a lot of celebrating together really helped us out when we were faced with the Irene recovery. So the first part of the show will focus on the celebrations, and then the second part will focus more on the Irene recovery. All right, rock and roll.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. So this first slide is of our not quite 4th of July parade and celebration, which is before the actual 4th of July. This is Courtney Nelson, who's our billing clerk, the gymnast, in front of the judges' stand. I'm sure they got a prize for this feat. She went up the whole, probably over half mile doing that. Waterbury Arts Fest happens each year. It started out as Stowe Street Arts Fest and has expanded. This is Kelly Taft, who's a local artist, displaying her cards and photography. Now there are probably over 50 artist vendors. This is Rosina Wallace, who has an organic dairy in Waterbury, with one of her calves doing outreach at the Arts Fest. The kids love Rosina, and she's terrific with them. Talks about the agricultural heritage of Waterbury in the area, and she's worked with kids for many years. This is a vegetable grower who comes regularly to the Waterbury Farmers Market, and this is in our local green, Rusty Parker Park near our train station. It's one of the most successful midweek farmers markets in Vermont, and gets good visitation. This is a very recent project. We're building a dog park in Waterbury, almost an acre in size. This is a timber frame shelter that the Estermar Design Build School in Warren built, and we're now roofing it. It's about a 14 by 20 shelter that will actually be for the people, not the dogs. This is the Waterbury Local Energy Action Partnership, or LEAP. They have a fair each year that's been very successful. They get between 600 and 700 people attending this fair. Bernie Sanders has come, the governor, and it's a great venue. This is a fall event that Ben Jerry's has done in the past called the Great Pumpkin Giveaway at Rusty Parker Park, where we have our farmers market. It's a great way to get people out in the fall. People obviously get a pumpkin, but they also, I think, collect food for the food shelf, and a good community event. This is one of our wonderful winter events. I want to highlight a couple winter events. This is the WDEV Intergalactic Winter Croquet Tournament. This is our team with Natalie and me, and our rec director. We were the Mallet Mutts, and we came in second. We got poisoned by the team from Randolph. This is part of our Winter Fest, which is about a week-plus long event. This is my daughter and Natalie and our Vista, Joey Gordon, trekking. We did an almost 4-mile snowshoe trek on the route of a nectar trail that we're wanting to build from the Waterbury Village to Little River State Park. Moving to Irene, this is the morning of August 29th, 2011. This is Paul, who is a retired pastor in Waterbury, looking down Main Street and contemplating the scene. This is our fire station that had just been completed. This was the pall of dust that stank of raw sewage and spilled fuel oil on Randall Street, which is one of our hardest hit residential areas. This was the start of the flood recovery, and the conditions were pretty bad. In fact, we didn't allow any children below the age of 18 to do any recovery work in these areas because of environmental issues. You can see Rebecca standing, talking to volunteers. We had between 200 and 300 volunteers every day. I was tasked with linking these volunteers up with people who had needs. We have another select board member. Rebecca was on the select board at the time. This is hoeing out one of the houses that was flooded. It was quite the process. I don't know how many hundreds of tons of debris were hauled out of Waterbury, but we had about 10 roll-off dumpsters in town for several weeks hauling material. This is Jeff Larkin, who owns Arbonne's restaurant. He's chair of our development review board. We're lucky to find he's holding up a horseshoe that he found during the recovery. And one of his buildings was flooded, and then he purchased another building that he since renovated that was flooded. So he's a real champion. And this is a celebration on Randall Street after the flood recovery. It was called the Thank You Party. And it was just great that the homeowners hosted a thank you for all the volunteers that helped out. And Darius was there with ice cream. And it was very celebratory to celebrate all that hard work. This was an art exhibit that was put together in a building that Jeff Larkin purchased. It was called the Floodgates Art Exhibit. They gave each person a card, about 8-inch by 8-inch card. You could do anything you wanted with that card in memory of your experience with Tropical Storm Irene. This was part of our long-term community recovery process. This was a planning process that FEMA assisted us with, and this was a brainstorming session where we had about 20 projects highlighted that we identified, and we were working on those. This is our Lantern Parade, another winter event where the school children and local artists, and actually artists from all over, create these incredible lanterns. This is a phoenix that was created in the first year or two of the Lantern Parade, and it's become a wonderful event. The sign says "We Love Waterbury." It was after the flood. This is up on our train trestle abutment as you come into town. Sort of representing the community spirit that really helped carry us through this very, very difficult process. This is a big piece of artwork that Sarah Lee Terrat, a local artist, mural artist, created. It says, "Washington County crossing Main Street during Tropical Storm Irene." It is clearly a play on Washington crossing the Delaware, but it's got an element of humor, and that's my thank you.